For my poem, I chose Departures by Emma Bolden. About the author. The author is Emma Bolden, and she's pictured in the bottom right corner. She was born and raised in Alabama, which she discusses has an influence on her work. She received a BLA from Sarah Lawrence College and an MFA in creative writing from UNC Wilmington as well. Her debut memoir is The Tiger and the Cage, a memoir of a body in crisis. She has won many awards throughout her career, including a few which I will list below. The 2009 Betty Gabehart Award for Nonfiction, the 2014 Barthelme Prize for Short Prose, So to Speak's 2015 Feminist Poetry Contest. She's won a few more as well. A meaningful quote that I found by Emma Bolden is, "An answer is not the same as a solution," which she states in The Tiger in the Cage, a memoir of a body in crisis, which, as I said before, is her debut memoir. I chose this quote because it is so simple yet so effective, and reading it allows you to realize that even if you come up with an answer to something, that answer won't always solve an issue. Solving an issue takes planning, trial, error, mistakes, hard work, and so much more. And once you have put in the work, then you have found yourself a solution. Bolden as an author interests me because her writing is so versatile and she has a lot of variety as an author, and we can see that in her work. She has a book-length series about witch trials. She also has a book-length lyric essay poetry hybrid, and she also has 4 chapbooks of poetry, 1 being nonfiction, and so much more, which just shows how versatile she is, and she has a variety in her writing. Here are some of those writings that Bolden has done, from left to right. The Sad Epistles, The Tiger in the Cage, which we already discussed, Maleficae, and House is an Enigma. Here is the poem, Departures by Emma Bolden. I bandaged my feet and changed my boots. In his Toyota, he drove without the brakes, over city and county, roads rain-grained into blue. I bandaged my feet before changing my boots. Blood couldn't stop me. In my hotel room, I woke to windows indecipherable from sky. I changed my feet. I bandaged my boots. He drove his Toyota. Without him, I break. Now I'm going to discuss a few things I noticed the first time after reading this poem. First, looking at the title, a departure is an act of leaving to start a journey, which we can already assume that this poem is about the speaker taking a journey to somewhere. Then I continued to look at the structure of the poem, and as you can see here, I highlighted it. It is a square, and from this, I could conclude that it is very compact, organized, and not drawn out, meaning that the speaker is to the point. We can also look at keywords like I and my to determine that this poem is in first person and the speaker is talking about themselves throughout the poem. I've highlighted these words throughout. I'm now going to read the poem a second time before we go deeper into analyzing. I bandaged my feet and changed my boots. In his Toyota, he drove without the brakes, over city and county, roads rain-grayed into blue. I bandaged my feet before changing my boots. Blood couldn't stop me. In my hotel room, I woke to windows indecipherable from sky. I changed my feet. I bandaged my boots. He drove his Toyota. Without him, I break. After reading the poem a second time, I feel like I gained a lot more knowledge of what this poem is actually about, which helped in the overall process of analyzing it. Starting with the first line, I bandaged my feet and changed my boots. I split it into two pieces. First, I bandaged my feet, meaning the speaker is recovering from injuries. And secondly, I changed my boots. She's getting ready to go somewhere and start her journey. The second line, in his Toyota, he drove without the brakes. I focused in on he drove without the brakes as being reckless and trying to get somewhere as quickly as possible, leaving behind their home as fast as they can. Over city and county roads, rain grayed into blue, I saw as describing traveling and the environment that they're in as they're going. And then I saw this in my mind as an open road in the middle of nowhere. It's wet from the rain. Basically just middle of the country, they're driving on their journey. And then there's a sort of repetition in the next line. I bandaged my feet before changing my boots. It's not exactly the same, but it is indicating again that they're on this journey and they're embarking on it. The next line really stood out to me. Blood couldn't stop me. I saw this as like family blood relation, and her family couldn't stop her from running away with him. Like her father and mother didn't approve of her leaving, but she ran away from home anyways, and they couldn't do anything about it. Continuing on, in the same line, in my hotel room, this gives a change of location, a change of scenery, and now we know that she's in a hotel room and not on the road traveling at this time. This next line confused me a little. I woke to windows indecipherable from sky. We know that she's in the hotel room and she's waking up, and I was confused from the indecipherable from sky part. And I took it as she woke up and can't tell the difference between the window and the sky. Like when you wake up and your eyes are foggy, you haven't like rubbed them to wake up fully yet. So maybe she's tired from the travel. This next line is also a little bit of repetition, except it's sort of messed up, or the order switched. It's I changed my feet and I bandaged my boots. I took this as the speaker is so exhausted from the travel that she can't even think straight. She's so tired that her brain isn't functioning yet, like when you wake up from a long day, a short rest, and you can't get clear thoughts. And this ties back to the previous line that I was confused on, just referring that the speaker is tired. Continuing to the last line, the first section, he drove his Toyota. We know that they're back on the road and back driving instead of being in the hotel. The last line, without him I break, stood out to me the most. I said that we can determine from this line that she had to go with him because she can't live without him, which gives an overall message of codependency. She feels like she needs him. She couldn't stay at home if he was leaving. She had to go with him, and especially in relationships, the poem itself describes not being able to live without the person that you love. I also think that this last line is the overall heart of the poem as well, since it describes that message and really gets the point across. There's a shift. The speaker begins just describing the journey and what she's doing, and then she ends up saying that she needs him and that's why she went. Some questions I have after reading and analyzing this poem are, what about this poem stands out the most to you and why? Do you have any different interpretations of this poem in general or specific lines? And if this were your poem, how would you expand it or add emphasis to certain points made in the poem? And then lastly, this is my works cited.